Welcome back to Building Character, where we figure out how to play as your favorite fictional characters in Dungeons & Dragons. Remember to like and subscribe for a more comfortable seat next time you play. Maybe. Today we're building Mace Windu, the best duelist in the Star Wars universe and one of very few users of a purple lightsaber. This symbolizes the struggle to balance the light side and the dark side of the Force, knowing that one can't ever exist without the other, and that all of us— I'm just kidding, Sam Jackson thought it would look badass. As usual, he was right.
Feel the Force flowing through you, right? Let it lift you.
I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.
Let's start off with our goals for this build. First, we need Vapod, a special fighting style that only Mace is cool enough to use. Seriously, it's a rule that nobody else can even try it except Mace. Next, we need a magical sword that can carve through anything. Finally, we need the Force, even if we're mostly just using it to hit harder. For stats, we'll be using the standard point array from the player's handbook. Roll for stats if you want, just keep your strength and charisma high. Strength will be number 1. Vapod is all about tiptoeing on the edge of the dark side, so you're going to be swinging pretty hard. Dexterity after that, you keep your armor light, and by that I mean you don't really wear armor at all. Charisma next. If I don't give Sam Jackson a high intimidation modifier, I have not built a Sam Jackson character. Follow that up with Constitution. You're the last Jedi standing against Palpatine, or second last if you count Anakin. I wouldn't. It's not like he has the rank of Master. Intelligence is a bit low. Mace isn't dumb, we just need other things more. We'll dump Wisdom. The Galactic Republic era Jedi are pretty oblivious to movements of the dark side. Mace is a human. Aasimar can get extra radiant damage to their hits if you're into that. Variant humans get a feat though. The tough feat adds 2 to your HP every level you get. We won't be able to get our Constitution up quite as high as I'd like to. This will kind of make up for it. Bump your Strength and your Charisma with your 2 free points. Take Religion for your skill of choice, and the Sage background for Arcana and History proficiency. Don't worry, we'll get some warrior skills in a second. We just need to be calm for the council meetings. But when you're not in a council meeting, Barbarian time. I'm going with Barbarian for the Form 7 fighting style for 2 reasons. 1, Form 7 is the most reckless fighting style Jedis have, and Barbarians are the most reckless fighters in D&D. And 2, we haven't made a Barbarian Jedi yet. Similar to the Keyblade wielders, I like to mix up how I tackle the builds to show how many different ways there are to build the same general thing. Anyway, 2 skills from the Barbarian list, Athletics and Intimidation, are good skills, and Mace is a soldier as well as a sage. You can enter a Rage to resist bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. You get advantage on strength checks and saves, and extra damage to your strength-based attacks. I'd call your lightsaber a longsword, which deals 1d8 slashing damage one-handed or 1d10 two-handed, depending on how hard you want to swing, and since it isn't a finesse weapon, it will use your strength modifier. Good to go for the Rage. You also get unarmored defense, making your AC 10 plus your dexterity and constitution modifier when you're not wearing armor, which isn't actually that great for you right now, but maybe we'll get it better later. We'll see. Second level barbarians get reckless attacks, letting you make your attacks with advantage as long as you don't mind giving your enemies advantage to hit you. You also don't have to be raging while using this, which will become more important later. You also get danger sense, so you'll have advantage on dexterity saves against spells and traps you can see. Lightning bolt and chain lightning are both dexterity saves, so your kit should keep you safe from Darth Sidious. Sorry, your ability kit, not your friend kit. He is not gonna be good in that fight. Third level barbarians can choose a primal path, and the Jedi are zealots. They're an army that train children to be soldiers and force abstinence on all of their members. Maybe that's why the dark side is so tempting, just saying. Zealots get Divine Fury, letting you add radiant damage to the first attack you make per round, equal to 1d6 plus half your barbarian level, to carve a little bit deeper with your slashes. You're also a warrior of the gods, meaning that resurrection magic doesn't require material components when it's used on you. But nobody in the movies actually uses healing until like 40 years after you die. I also just think it's hilarious that Mace has to be a Force ghost with Anakin, the dude who most definitely killed him and all of Alderaan. Like, they're both giving Rey advice on how to beat Palpatine. I have to imagine afterwards Mace was just like, oh yeah, Anakin, deflecting the lightning, that's a good strategy. I thought it was too until you cut off my hand. Give me that cut of the movie, Disney. I would watch that. Fourth level barbarians get an ability score improvement, more strength, more hits, and more damage. You're the best of the best after all. Fifth level barbarians get an extra attack. You've got to swing hard, but you also need to swing fast if you're going to take down the Sith. Speaking of fast, you'll also get fast movement, giving you an extra 10 feet of movement speed while you're not wearing heavy armor. You're not a Mandalorian, you're a decapitator of Mandalorians. Now we'll need some force powers, and if Divine Fury is the light side, Hexblade would be a pretty good dark side to balance it out. First, you get Hexblade's Curse, which lets you pick one person to absolutely wreck for the next minute. It lets you add your proficiency bonus to the damage of your attacks. You crit on a 19 or a 20, and recover HP equal to your Warlock level and Charisma modifier. You only get one of these per short rest, but there's only 2 Sith in the galaxy at any given time. What are the odds you're going to bump into both of them in the same day? Warlocks also get spells, which unfortunately you cannot cast while raging, so think of it as a more defensive style until you unload the offense. If you don't learn forms 1 through 6, you don't get to 7. That makes sense. Hexblades can cast Shield, adding 5 to your AC as a reaction for some lightsaber deflection. Comprehend languages lets you understand any language for an hour. The Force is a wonderful communication tool. For your cantrips, Eldritch Blast literally deals force damage, 1d10 per beam, and you can shoot 2 beams of it right now. We'll make it even more forcey in a second. True Strike works great as a punishment for people in the comment section who think that people getting to be alive is debatable. Those people are much worse than a bad cantrip, because cantrips don't perpetuate a society where arbitrary factors of identity make one person more valuable than another. Also gives you advantage on your next weapon attack. Second level Warlocks get invocations to make them cooler, or more often than not, to make their Eldritch Blasts cooler. Repelling Blast, for example, lets you push a target 10 feet away from you when you hit them with a beam, helping you get a little space. Get it? Because Star Wars happens in space. Agonizing Blast lets you add your Charisma modifier to your Eldritch Blast attacks, but because you can swap them out when you level up, we're gonna grab something next level. Don't worry about this one too much. That's because third level Warlocks can pick a Pact, and the Pact of the Blade lets you pick a weapon to summon with an action. It's magical in terms of overcoming resistances, meaning you're gonna be ready for whatever the Separatists are throwing at you. You also can learn second level spells. As a Hexblade, you can learn Blur, giving creatures disadvantage on attack rolls against you for up to a minute, depending on your concentration, which will cancel out the penalty from reckless attacks if you're not raging. For a more wild but controlled wild style. Should I make a wild style build from the Lego movie? Sorry, I'm bad at staying focused. Switch the invocation you took that wasn't Repelling Blast for improved Pact Weapon, giving you +1 to attack and damage rolls with your Pact Weapon for a truly unique lightsaber. Unless you saw the Nightmare video, then, hey, look over there, it's an ability score improvement. 4th level Warlocks get an ability score improvement you can use to cap off your strength modifier for the best dueling you can do. 5th level Warlocks can learn 3rd level spells. Counterspell will shut down spells of 3rd level or lower automatically, and higher level spells with a charisma check of 10 plus the spell's level. Chain Lightning is a 6th level spell, so that would be 16. No particular reason to bring that up. Anywho, you also get another invocation. Eldritch Smite lets you spend a Warlock slot to add 1d8 force damage per spell level to an attack with your Pact Weapon, so 3d8. If the target is huge or smaller, you can even knock it prone for advantage on a follow-up melee attack. Since this isn't technically a spell, you can even add it to your attacks while you're raging if you really want to mess someone up. Now that we can hit harder than any other Jedi and shut down the dark side, let's go back to Barbarian. 6th level Zealots get Fanatical Focus, letting you reroll a failed saving throw once per rage. If you're not using your force powers for pushing, it might as well help with your sheer Jedi will. 7th level Barbarians get Feral Instinct, giving you advantage on initiative checks, and you can't be surprised if you enter a rage at the start of combat. Even if the old man you are arresting just went from a fully seated position to a 720 flip through the air while screaming like a dying mountain lion. Mace Windu keeps it cool. 8th level Barbarians get another ability score improvement. Constitution is probably the best bet for better AC and HP to keep you in the fight longer. Better force powers would also be nice, but those aren't going to be active while you're raging. Since the 7th form is the most distinct thing about you as a Jedi, I want to make sure that's working as best as possible. 9th level Barbarians get Brutal Critical, letting you roll another damage die when you critically hit. Since you already have a double critical chance with your Hexblade's Curse and a doubled critical chance again with the Reckless Attack, you'll be getting these way more often to carve up the baddies like a Thanksgiving turkey. Actually, way better than that. Nobody carves a turkey with a laser sword. 10th level Zealot Barbarians get Zealous Presence, letting you give up to 10 creatures advantage on attack rolls and saving throws for 1 round. Impromptu top 10 underrated Jedi time: Aayla Secura, Barriss Offee, Coyote Mundi, Rumbaro Dandrum, Plo Koon, Quinlan Vos, Itaki Orlo, Kit Fisto, Nika Ray, and Qui-Gon Jinn. I made some of those up. Which ones? Tell me in the comments. 11th level Barbarians get Relentless Rage, letting you straight up ignore death sometimes while you're raging, making a DC 10 Constitution save to stay at 1 HP instead. The DC goes up by 5 each time you use it and resets on a long rest. Meditation heals all wounds, except for broken bones from falling out a window. Remember in Attack of the Clones how Anakin and Obi-Wan both cowabunga out of space cars and don't take falling damage? It's kind of weird that Mace can't do that. 12th level Barbarians get our last ability score improvement. More Constitution is my recommendation. Remember that raising your Constitution modifier bumps your HP retroactively, so that's plus 17 HP at this point, not plus 1. 13th level Barbarians get another Brutal Critical die for 4d10 plus 3d8 plus 1d6 plus 21 damage with an Eldritch Smite critical hit with your lightsaber. And that's 3 different types of damage too, so no matter what you're hitting, it should hurt them in some way. 14th level Zealots get Rage Beyond Death, meaning that even if you should die while you're raging, you just don't. You stay standing until your rage ends, even if you fail your death saving throws. Worth noting, you can re-roll death saving throws with the Fanatical Focus. Maybe Mace just failed all of his death saves before getting yeeted out the window and then his rage ended so he died. I just feel like he got cheated there. Our capstone is the 15th level of Barbarian for Persistent Rage, meaning that your rage can't end early unless you want it to. Pairing that with Rage Beyond Death, you're straight up immortal for 50 rounds of combat. Is that good? Well, now that we've hit level 20, let's figure out how viable this build is. With Persistent Rage and Rage Beyond Death, you're straight up immortal for 50 rounds of combat. That's good. You're also pumping out serious damage with Divine Fury, Extra Attack, Improved Pact Weapon, Hexblade's Curse, and Eldritch Smite. Finally, all of your damage is magical, so resistances aren't anything to sweat. For weaknesses, you mixed casting with Barbarian, but you can't cast spells while you're raging, so you're gonna have to decide if you want to counterspell and force push or go full-on Vapod. That also makes you limited on range until you drop the rage. Finally, low wisdom means that you could get paralyzed by a forced choke or get bamboozled by a charismatic senator's charm person. But once that wears off, you're the only one who can take him down. Spark up your cool ass purple laser sword and take down the baddies the way only you know how. Maybe just be a little nicer to the new kid. His natural talent can be a little disarming. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, subscribe for more. We've got more and more bonus videos coming. Then